Rakell's the interesting one because we have said all week it's unlikely the price is going to be too high. People aren't going to be willing to pay it because Kyle Dubas is going to keep that high price on Rickard Rakell. All of a sudden, the market seems like people are willing to pay very high prices at this year's deadline. So now, as we sit here today, is it more beneficial for the Penguins to move Rickard Rakell now as opposed to in the summer when initially we all thought his value would be higher because of the higher salary cap?
I think his value is higher now. I mean, we're seeing what certain players are going for. We're seeing the trend of return across the league in these moves. There's one thing it's not a guarantee, but it's a bit more of a guarantee right now, and that is that Rickard Rakell will at least finish this season pretty strong. Once an off season hits, once the summer months go by, once a training camp restarts into a new season, you don't know exactly what you're getting at all. He could fall off, next season. This 1 year could be one of those just random acts of, I'm having a great year in the later stages of my career. So the team was going to want to take advantage of that for this season rather than risk he's had a few months off now. They'll be able to fit under the cap, no problem, and he can still do this, and this, but it's not going to be at the same level. That's just the way I look at it. That's the way I can see it. I would say for now, the Penguins are better off trading him away this season, and by this season I do mean today or tomorrow, before taking him into the off season and maybe losing value in terms of what you could get in return. The market is set for sellers now. Who knows what it'll be in the summer?
Yeah, now here's the thing. I don't think Rickard Rakell starts next season on the Penguins. No matter what happens, I think he's traded by this summer because his value, even if he goes out and lays a goose egg in the final 18 games with the Penguins, his value is not going to deteriorate all that much because people will draw conclusions of, well, the team was out of it, this, that, and the other, not to mention the fact that he's not going to get a goose egg because he's playing with Sidney Crosby, who is not going to get a goose egg in the last 18 games of the season, no matter where the Pittsburgh Penguins sit in the NHL standings. But I agree with you. I think that the thought was higher cap equals higher return. But with the way that the market is going right now, I mean, I tweeted it out yesterday, and I'm still surprised that it's only this much. 5 first-round picks, 5 of them have been doled out. And we are still over 24 hours away from the NHL trade deadline. We still have not seen Mikko Rantanen potentially get flipped, which will include a first-round pick likely. If not a first-round pick, certainly a second and many other assets. It is a seller's market to the fullest extent. I don't think anybody expected it to be this way, and anybody expected teams to be this desperate for talent at this point. Now, it makes sense in hindsight because as of right now, there's only a handful of teams that are completely out of the playoff race, and there certainly is no bona fide favorite in either the East or the Western Conference, so everybody feels like they have a chance, and this could be the year. And when that's the case, plus you have that buffer, you have that safety net of, well, the cap is going to go up in the summer, so even if we make a bad move, the blow is going to be lessened by that salary cap going up. And if it works, we could be raising the Stanley Cup. And what are we talking about? That's what we want. So the seller's market is as high as I have seen it in a very long time. I would have to literally go back and do research to think about when sellers have been in a better position than they are right now. And if the offer comes, and it might, you have to take it if you're Kyle Dubas. And nothing based on what he's done to this point and in the past year since the Gensel trade indicates to me that he would turn down the offer if it came.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially if that right offer comes along. Like you said, Rantanen is still possibly getting moved again. He'd land a first, if not a first in many assets. He's a different level.
Especially because he's on the expiring deal. So maybe it's not a first because he's on an expiring contract, and we saw how that worked out for Carolina. But
depends on what they are able to... what team is able to land him and possibly sign an extension with. Who knows what the deal could turn out to be. But that being said, even with other rental pieces, like Brock Nelson could land a first if Lou Lamoriello decides to go in that direction. That seems very likely now. I think Scott Lawton's going to be able to land Philadelphia first if they decide to move him. These are players that you don't normally think of landing first round picks. Rickard Rakell's better than those last 2 I just said. straight up, especially this season. Whenever going into the trade situation, I don't think we had expected Rakell to land a first-round pick, especially whenever the season started after the year he had last year. It didn't seem likely. That was a big contract. That was not a great season. Things just seemed unlikely, and then he started scoring a bit. Okay, scoring, maybe it's a good second and an asset. And then the cap went up, and it went up again, and it was okay. His values continue to increase, and now we're seeing all these other moves. All right, well, yeah, he's definitely going to land you a first. Maybe Emily Kaplan isn't crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know if the rest of that deal could be pulled off, but I mean, if the right deal comes along, it doesn't even have to be an overpay for Rakell. Just landing another first-round pick could be huge for the Penguins. And by the way, New Jersey losing Jack Hughes for the season. If they still want to go for it this year, why not?
I don't know. I think, yes, certainly adding Rickard Rakell helps you if you're New Jersey, but they've been pretty bad for a couple months now.
Yeah,
and I don't know if
great.
You go bad for a couple months, you lose the player that was supposed to lead you on a cup run, and your response is going to be, yeah, let's go out and get somebody else and try to salvage the season. No, I think of all the teams that are in the top 3 of their division, New Jersey's one of those teams that are like, yeah, we're going to pump the brakes a little bit here because, you lose Jack Hughes. That's like Sidney Crosby going down in 2017. Like, you're not going to bring anybody in that is going to replace that and give you the same opportunity at a cup. But again, who knows? Because the NHL is wide open and they have the goaltending this year if Jacob Markstrom stays healthy. So maybe they are a little bit desperate. But no, I think what we're seeing is the potential for a wild 24 hours where the Penguins might look drastically different, not just slightly different, but drastically different. I mean, heck, they already do. Luke Schenn, if not traded, again, if not flipped, and Tommy Novak are probably going to be in that lineup on Friday night. Vinny Desharnais is not. Michael Bunting wasn't even with the team as far as I know because he's recovering from an appendectomy, but we're not going to see him anymore. Like, that is already changing what this lineup looks like at a pretty large level, large scale. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that.